Buddy, it's Jordan with the Getting Bit Fishing team, and if you're looking to catch more bass this summer by flipping, a technique that you haven't tried yet, stay tuned for this video on how to. We're going to dive into everything flipping, brought to you by Seven Rivers Marine. Okay, so you're new to bass fishing or you've been bass fishing for a while. Either way, you're looking to get more hookups this year. When it comes to that summer bite, that late spring bite, or even early into the fall, the flip and bite is key, and it's a good way to catch big bass in a large bag. So the first thing we're going to go over is the rod-reel combination. Whenever you're flipping, you're going to want a bigger, a longer stick for this to get more distance with it, to keep the action of the bait more natural. You're going to be looking for 7'4" to a 7'6", 7'8" rod, medium heavy to heavy with a fast action tip. The reason you want a heavier rod is so whenever you're trying to pull these bass out of heavier cover, or whenever you're trying to pull them out a little bit further away from you, you have that backbone to set the hook good. And the reason you want a fast action tip is so you can feel everything that you're going over. It gives you that extra bit of sensitivity to really help you feel and not miss those bites that you could otherwise miss. So after you figure out your rod setup, the next big thing is going to be your reel. You need a fast speed reel. You're going to look for something, typically 7 1-to-1 is the slowest I would go. Really, ideally, you're going to want to go with a 7'6" to a 7 or to an 8 1-to-1. Some people even use 9 1-to-1s or 10 1-to-1s. The reason you want a high speed reel isn't just because you're trying to get those fish to you quicker. Whenever you're flipping, taking your bait, and let's say you're trying to cover water, let's say you're in a tournament situation, you're pre-fishing, or you're just out there fishing on the weekend, taking your kid out. The idea behind flipping is not only to be efficient, but it's to cover water at the same time. So with a high-speed reel, not only are you able to get out to the areas that you're trying to go to, but you can get that bait back to you quickly so you can get right back into the next hole. Now, the next important thing, after you figure out your rod and reel setup, it's going to be the line. Because once you get everything set up, the most important part is getting your bait in the water. So what kind of line are you going to use whenever you're flipping? You're looking for a heavier line. I've said before, Cigar Red Label is a great line. It's really affordable. It's a great fluorocarbon. I only use fluorocarbon for this application. You're going to look for something, the lightest you want to go 16-pound test, but that's not a typical application. Try to stay above 18 to 24-pound test. After we figure out the line, when are we going to use it? What time of year, what conditions are we going to use it under? For the time of year, this is a great application once you get past the spawn. I know you can pitch into some of the beds and stuff like this, but we're really not talking about that application. For flipping heavy cover, pitching heavy cover, docks, stuff like that, later in the spring, all the way into summer is really good. As the sun starts to heat up and the days get longer, those fish are going to relate more to cover and they're going to look more to shade. Whenever they start to do that, that is a great time to start flipping and picking apart these areas to really find those fish that aren't just swimming out in the open. So now we figured out the time of year that we're looking at. The next big thing is going to be the conditions. Slick, calm, and sunny. That is the ideal time to be flipping. So a lot of times whenever you're out there, either on a spinnerbait or a buzzbait and there's an overcast, the fish are cruising the banks. They're more, secure in low light conditions. Water's not as hot. Whenever it's slick, calm, and sunny, and those power fishing techniques aren't working, but you're still needing to cover water, those fish are relating to cover. They're relating to wood. They're relating to docks. They're trying to find shade. And this is the perfect application to be able to take a creature bait or a jig and pitch it right into that shade where that fish is sitting and get those reaction bites that you're looking for. Once we figure out the conditions, the next thing is going to be the tackle that you use. So as you can see here, we have a 3/8 ounce weight with a bobber stop, just a creature bait, and a 4/0 hook, 5/0 hook, sorry. So when you're using this application, any type of creature bait will work. My preferred, honestly, money crawls are great. Rage bugs are great. Power max scent baits are great. But honestly, any creature bait or beaver style bait is great for this application. When it comes to your weight, you want to stay with 3/8 ounce, half ounce, but you always want to peg the bait. And the reason behind that, if this bait weren't to be pegged, whenever it would go down into the brush, right, and it would hit that piece of a brush or whatever, your bait's going to stay afloat while your sinker sinks to the bottom. And without getting your bait down there in front of that fish, you're never going to get the hookups or the catch. You're never going to have the opportunity for that fish to see your bait. So what kind of cover are we looking for? What kind of conditions are we looking for? The cover, obviously you're looking for laydowns, you're looking for docks, you're looking for brush piles, you're looking for beaver dams, anything that's isolated that has a hole that you think a bass might be laying in is honestly the best type of cover. There's various types of cover out there. Don't think it's just like when I first got into fishing, I thought there had to be certain conditions or there's only certain types of cover that were good to flip. But honestly, anywhere that you can't get your crankbait or your spinner bait or something you're throwing out in the open, pitch something in there. It's a great way to isolate those pieces of cover that you otherwise weren't going to fish. So now we figured out the conditions we're going to use, what bait we're going to use, slick, calm, sunny, all of that stuff. Now it's time for the one thing that the fishermen deal with constantly, clear water versus dirty water. Honestly, when you're flipping, it's more of a clear water or a stained water, slight stained water tactic, but it still works really good when it gets muddy out. A lot of people will tell you that you're not going to catch bass flipping whenever it's really muddy out. There's absolutely no truth to that. What there is truth behind is you're not going to catch as many. Don't go out in a muddy condition, just like with any other tactic, and think you're going to catch a bunch of bass. But I can assure you, flipping in muddy water, use some brighter baits, put some chartreuse tips on it, but follow the same pattern that you're going to try. Don't expect to get as many bites, but you can catch some of your biggest bass in muddy water flipping. So we figured out the muddy water, the clear water. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed everything that we put together for you guys today. Thank you for following us, and a big thanks to Seven Rivers Marine for helping put this on. So, as always, God bless our troops and our veterans. We couldn't do this without you guys, and thank you for viewing.